We're bringing you in-depth coverage tonight on a deadly case of domestic violence in Pawtucket. 2 men are dead in what police are calling a murder-suicide. So joining me live right now in studio is Deb DeBare you're the executive director of the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Yep. Thank you so much for joining us. Sure. I appreciate it. Well, in this latest case, the suspect in the incident was at the residence. He was looking for a woman who recently had ended a relationship with him, and statistics show that that's usually a pretty susceptible time for violence.
Right. You know, what we see a lot is that when victims leave an abusive relationship or when someone breaks out of that situation, sometimes the violence can escalate and can be an incredibly dangerous time for victims. And
we usually see a case of murder or death as being kind of the final step as domestic violence moves along, but it's a step. So I mean, there's so many other steps along the way, and it's pretty common for those to be going on almost every single day that violence is happening.
Yeah, I know people don't realize how common domestic violence is, but there are over 10,000 victims of domestic violence that receive help each year in Rhode Island. And so we're there to try to help victims of domestic violence learn what the options are, where they can get help. You know, we want people in the community to know what resources are there so that they know what to do to reach out to someone if they know someone in an abusive relationship. The last thing we want to see is deadly tragedies like this happening.
And what are some of those resources available?
There are 6 local domestic violence agencies around the state, and they all have emergency shelter, counseling, support groups, court advocates to help someone navigate the court system. And you know, we have a 24-hour confidential hotline, which is 800-494-8100.
All right, great. And I know something that you guys were working on was a domestic violence prevention fund, trying to get that passed through the State House. It didn't pass this time around as legislation. So what are you guys hoping for out of this?
Well, you know, it's very frustrating to see deadly situations like this happen just a week after the legislature lost the opportunity to establish a new funding stream that would have set up funding to help support prevention programming all around the state. You know, we're hoping that next year the legislature will take this more seriously. It passed the Senate this year, but not the House, and we're really hoping to see some action next year early on in the session because one more death is too many.
And you told me this plan has something to do with the marriage licenses, right?
Right. The Domestic Violence Prevention Fund would be established by adding a fee onto the marriage license fee, and those funds would be channeled to a specific fund specifically for prevention programming.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you so much, Deb, for joining us in studio today to talk about this. We appreciate it. And we do have in-depth coverage online right now at WPRI.com. We've put together a domestic violence resource guide. We also have more information on the services available through the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence.